I'll tell you what, this next guy, this is the guy I'm having the most problems with. I don't know what's going to happen with this guy, and this is James Conner. We've had a lot of debates about James Conner on this podcast, even just behind the scenes as well. And I don't think he's going to get big money anywhere. He's definitely injury prone, but I still think this guy has some left in the tank. And I don't know where his mindset is. Like, is he going to go anywhere that'll take him? Or is he looking to play for a contender? Who knows? He's not going to have, as much leverage as even Fournette will, I don't think. But I'm thinking of vacancies as far as running backs go. And look, I don't think Gurley's staying in Atlanta. So I could see James Conner coming into an Atlanta situation. And if he stays healthy, being a solid back end RB2, if they say this is our main running back. So I'm going to lean towards somewhere with Atlanta, but I'm so unsure on this one. Gabe, you're a big fan of James Conner. You have been in the past, probably still are. So where do you see him going this offseason?
I think that James Conner has the widest range of outcomes in terms of where he is going and his potential value. And honestly, I think it's just kind of trending downward. This guy could possibly sign as a backup somewhere. I don't think he's necessarily going to go to a team where he will be the guy. I don't think he's going to go to a team that's willing to pay him the money to be the guy. He could very well end up somewhere like Las Vegas and back up Josh Jacobs on a 1 year, 2 year minimum deal. He could go to the New York Jets and maybe be that guy that they're going to pay $10 or $12 million a year to be that guy. But I think that's highly unlikely. I think he's more likely to find a backup position somewhere, which is sad because I am a James Conner fan. But 2021 fantasy outlook for James Conner, not looking so good.
Justin, how you feeling, man, about James Conner?
I gotta disagree wholeheartedly because he had
book it down.
He had a nice showing when he played, and then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he had a nice start. We're like, beautiful. This is the guy we drafted. Got a little hurt, and the Steelers just completely went to a full passing offense, and it was just like, okay, well, no one's running the ball there. It's not like Benny Snell.
Yeah, nobody else emerged.
So
you're pretty right. He had a good 4-week stretch.
Jacob and I know this better than anyone because we were so high on James Conner as a bounce back candidate in 2020 that he was going to come out and tear the reins off the world. And the first game of the 2020 season, Jacob and I have the biggest fit in the world because he goes out there, tweaks his ankle, and he's out for the rest of the game. Yeah. And we come on the podcast the next week, say we can't trust this dude anymore.
And Benny Snell was the top pickup of the week.
And then guess what? Week 2, James Conner comes back, gets 30 points. It's a roller coaster of emotions I do not need.
So that's what I looked at. No. And you make great points. It's like he's not getting paid. Like no team out there is going to say, hey, man, we saw what you did. We like it all. Here's a boatload of money. So you're gonna get him on a discount. And I look at a team that can use a discount and use a running back, and I go to the Bills. I was fighting between the Bills or Patriots, but if I wanted to win and I wanted to know that my spot will be secure, because I think if he plays well, it's his. If he doesn't, then they can fall back on their Singletary and the other guy. I can't think of his name.
Zach
Moss. Yeah. So sign Conner, beef up that. Go similar to the Cardinals on the other side, beef up your roster and go for a win. And James Conner is a nice cheap deal that salary cap can afford over there. And I like the fit, to be honest, because he doesn't demand a lot and he can work well with Josh Allen. So Bills is my go-to for him.
I could definitely see that, man. Especially,
that's a good pick.
We've named the Bills a few times here, so they definitely need to address that at some point. All right, Joe, where is James Conner headed this offseason?
Man, I was the most critical of this guy all going into last year when I was going the opposite way of you and Gabe saying I didn't trust him.
Bro, I got to hype him up for a trade value. Come on.
Listen. I actually think he didn't do that bad. He had 4.3 yards per carry. He led the team with 17 broken tackles. They didn't even give him 200 rushing attempts, and he still had 721 yards on the ground, 215 yards through the air. Wasn't awful, guys. He just that team, like Dustin said, didn't do great. Listen, the guys that were challenging him that had the second and third most rushing attempts, Benny Snell, 3.3 yards per carry. Anthony McFarland Jr., 3.4 yards per carry.
Good point.
He did way better than those guys, but I don't think he goes back to Pittsburgh just because I think that they have different needs that they need to address. So I actually love this guy, Jacob, on the Chargers. This is my Chargers guy.
I thought about that, him or Chris Carson.
This is a guy, he's cheaper than Chris Carson. He's actually, I think, younger than Chris Carson, or around the same age, 25, 26. But he has less miles on him, right? He has had some injury concerns, but that's fine. You go to the Chargers, you let him and Eckler be the guys, and you have two really good running backs and no problems there. So I like him filling in that Melvin Gordon role. I think he does great with the Chargers. I think if Justin Jackson Jr., is that his name? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
If he was able to have some decent games, I think James Conner will have some great games. So I like him in that cheap spot to fill in the backup for Eckler.
Yeah, I agree. I think unless they go with one of the same guys they already had, I think there's a role there to be had by one of these free agents.